future. They call it the artificial sun. Singapore's green cars. And high-tech greenhouses from the Netherlands. Recently, European astronaut Frank de Winne assumed command of the International Space Station. It is almost 9 years since permanent crews took up residence on the ISS. The current Expedition 21 crew will take delivery of supplies from a Progress cargo ship and receive an 11-day mission from the Space Shuttle Atlantis. This will ferry up several tank and gyroscope assemblies. De Winne, a native of Belgium, is the first ISS commander who is neither Russian or American. An experienced pilot, he came to prominence in 1997 when his F-16 encountered engine problems. Rather than eject and abandon his plane over a populated area, he managed to land the disabled fighter, earning high praise. This is his second flight to the ISS.
To the professionalism of the European Astronaut Corps and European Astronaut Center, we have now been offered this function, and of course I'm very glad that I can do it and that also I can help my crewmates, and I hope to be a good commander during my stay.
In 2001, he started training for a support flight to the ISS at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center at Star City in Russia. On his first space mission, he served as a flight engineer on the newly designed Soyuz TMA spacecraft when it visited the ISS for 9 days.
Being in space for the first time was very exciting, of course, especially when for the first time you can look outside the window and you can see our wonderful planet from space. What is very remarkable is the vulnerability and to see how fragile our planet actually is in this vast universe.
While there, he successfully carried out a program of experiments in the fields of life and physical sciences. Having a European leader is not the only unusual thing about this current mission. For the first time, the ISS has a 6-person crew. A training program in ground-based simulators took the crew through daily routines and emergency procedures.
Well, you live with 6 people in a confined environment for 6 months. You have all different nationalities, different cultures, different characters, and of course making this one group, one team that works together towards the same goal is the biggest challenge.
As commander, Frank de Winne has been trained in every aspect of the ISS, specialising in the operation of the space station's robotic arm. His preparations had him at specialist facilities in Germany, Japan, the USA, and back at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Center in Russia. With so much of his training happening at Star City, de Winne has had to become fluent in Russian. Most of the control functions for the International Space Station are operated using 2 laptops, one American, one Russian. The so-called spacesuit is worn by anyone who flies on the Soyuz craft. Its function is to protect the cosmonaut from accidental depressurization of the capsule. At Star City, all crew members are put through a series of exercises involving unexpected events. In an emergency, a quick response is important. With a full complement of 6 crew members, the research functions of the ISS will expand. Previously, 3-member teams were mainly focused on maintenance and building work on the space station itself. With a crew of 6, there are always 2 Soyuz evacuation capsules docked to the space station, and exercises in the Soyuz simulator are a recurring part of pre-flight training.
We are very excited to fly and to be in space for 6 months and to live and work together with our colleagues for 6 months on the International Space Station. Of course, we are also a little bit sad that we have to leave all the goodies that we have here on Earth behind us. First of all, of course, wife, family, friends, but also things that we enjoy in daily life, taking a shower, having good food, having a glass of wine. All this we will have to leave for 6 months, but I think it will still be a worthwhile experience.
When completed, the International Space Station will have more than 1,200 cubic metres of pressurised space, enough room for 7 crew and a huge range of scientific experiments. Singapore is home to a number of companies developing low-emission vehicles. The National University of Singapore has built the Eco Car, powered by a 1.2 kilowatt hydrogen fuel cell. And the Singapore government has established a multi-agency EV task force to assess the benefits and viability of electric vehicles. It fits within the island's blueprint for environmental sustainability. Zeeco, founded in 2008, imports E-Max plug-in electric scooters from Germany, with running costs as low as $50 per year and a one-off rebate from the government. The scooters are very attractive. The scooter can travel up to 90 kilometres when fully charged and have a top speed of 50 kilometres per hour. They are more than capable of meeting the short commuting needs of urban Singapore. The scooters themselves have no emissions, and the CO2 released in the generation of the electricity used to charge the battery is a small fraction of that released by the equivalent petrol-powered scooter.
It saves operational costs, so consumers, if they want to save money, this one here is actually a better way to go compared to a petrol scooter. At the end, this one meets the needs of a consumer more. Why? Because usually, even if you can drive 150 or 200 kilometers an hour with Ducati, you don't do it. You're still stuck in traffic with the slowest vehicle in front of you. So my scooter meets exactly the needs of consumers if they don't travel too fast, what they usually don't do.
A full charge via a standard domestic power outlet takes between 3 and 5 hours. Maintenance costs for the electric scooters are roughly 1/5 of standard internal combustion machines. Zeeco has devised the Green Lots concept, an island-wide charging network with points in shopping malls, car parks and at IKEA centres. Each plug-in station has a Green Lot scooter parking space fitted with a charging point. The Green Car Company is seeking to build and market the cheapest electric car in the world. The all-round green car is a concept of company founder Clarence Tan. His aim is to build electrically powered cars from recyclable materials with a carefully planned manufacturing process. This car is based on the Corbin Sparrow, an electric vehicle first rolled out in the US. Its lead-acid battery charges in 4 hours from an industrial outlet.
Essentially, this car has a very low carbon footprint. Therefore, users get to save the environment. At the same time, because of these unique manufacturing techniques, this vehicle will probably be the cheapest electric car in the world.
The Green Car Company, in partnership with Myers Motors, imports the single-seat electric cars, which are then modified for the Singapore market and sold as the SEV1. With a top speed of 125 kilometres per hour and a range of 50 kilometres, the SEV1 is perfect for Singapore's urban commuter needs. The aim is to market a low-cost yet practical car.
Made of fiberglass, is just as durable as any conventional vehicle on the road.
After the local modifications, the car can be fully charged from a standard household power point in 6 hours. Plans exist for the SEV2, a 2-person version with air conditioning. The NUS Eco Car project started in 2008 as a way to encourage students to solve the energy challenges of the future. It is also a single-seat design that uses aluminium and carbon fibre to keep its weight to 130 kilograms. Known as the Cruise, it's able to travel 300 kilometres on 1 litre of compressed hydrogen. The Faculty of Engineering team of 10 worked together for 10 months to create it. Hydrogen is seen as the perfect fuel because its exhaust product is water vapour. However, there are still some big problems associated with storage and production. The car was entered in Shell's Eco Marathon, where it ran 5th in a field of 57 in the urban concept category. Singapore has a green strategy with a detailed plan for dealing with pressures on the environment. Being an entrepreneurial nation, the country is fostering the new low-carbon technologies. The Netherlands is a leading agricultural producer, but its greenhouses contribute to 12% of the country's carbon emissions. Now they're testing new, more efficient greenhouses.
The idea was born in 1999 when we were thinking of how we could use solar energy that accumulates in greenhouses. Over a year, approximately 3 times more solar energy is trapped by a greenhouse than is needed, and it's a pity that amount of energy is wasted. So we were focused on a solution that would collect and store solar energy in the summer period and use it when the warmth is needed.
A system of thermal pumps and underground insulated water tanks stores heat that builds up during the summer months and recirculates it during the colder periods of the year when it is needed. The air treatment unit and the air ducts play a crucial role in the climate system. When the greenhouse is cooled, moisture in the greenhouse precipitates and is recovered for irrigation water. Closed greenhouses are about climate management rather than climate control. The system ensures that the temperature, the relative humidity and the CO2 all remain at optimum levels. Forced distribution of air means that there is never a dead climate inside the greenhouse. It is standard practice to promote plant growth with higher levels of CO2. But with a closed system, CO2 use has been cut by 65%. Profitability of Dutch greenhouse firms is largely dependent on energy costs. About 1/4 of a grower's yearly expense goes on energy. Increasing energy prices make the closed greenhouses even more attractive.
The closed greenhouse system allows us to keep carbon dioxide in the greenhouse over the summer period. CO2 is needed for plants to grow, and when its level increases, we see a corresponding increase in production. In our case, we managed to increase production by 25%, and at the same time, we save 20 to 25% of our energy costs.
En wat daar tegenover staat is dat wij ongeveer 15 tot 20% minder energie daarvoor nodig hebben.
The Dutch government is keen to reduce carbon emissions and is supporting the closed greenhouses trials.
If we really want to make a big step forward in saving energy and reducing CO2 output, we have to encourage more growers to use this technology. Therefore, we have introduced subsidies for growers who want to use the system. Their experience and learning will set an example for other producers.
The greenhouses sector is very important to the Dutch economy, bringing in some 12 billion euros each year. But the government is still under pressure to cut the country's carbon pollution without affecting the quality of the lives of their citizens. Widespread technological transformation in this sector will have benefits for all.
And the other thing is that such greenhouses could produce quite a lot of extra energy that could be distributed to local firms or houses.
If successful, the next step would be to link the greenhouses to the electricity grid.
Our ambition, together with the sector, is to make all greenhouses energy neutral by 2020. This will support the development of further innovations to help keep reducing energy consumption and carbon emissions.
The industry employs about 140,000 people, and the Dutch government is keen to protect these jobs. China's East Research Facility is dedicated to gathering knowledge about how to control nuclear fusion. If nuclear fusion can be harnessed, it would be a breakthrough capable of providing huge amounts of energy without harmful radioactive byproducts. Central to the research is the tokamak, a Russian acronym for the superconducting magnetic vessel designed to contain the immense temperature and pressure needed to sustain a fusion reaction. But there are still many problems to solve.
Scientists all over the world have done a lot of analysis, calculation, and simulation experiments. Everyone believes that the experimental tokamak fusion device can be established technically, but none of them has brought this kind of device to reality.
Unlike conventional nuclear fission reactors, which split large atoms to release energy, a fusion reaction forces hydrogen atoms together to create helium, which also releases a lot of energy. This is the type of reaction that powers our Sun. Its huge gravitation squeezes the hydrogen atoms together, but to generate similar conditions here on Earth is very difficult. The tokamak has been dubbed an artificial sun. The aim is to develop a system that can withstand temperatures as high as 100 million degrees Celsius and control the reaction as two hydrogen isotopes are fused. EAST is part of the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Program, which is the largest international scheme dedicated to experiments in thermonuclear fusion. The tokamak uses a powerful circular magnetic field to contain the fusion fuel in a plasma state. When a substance is superheated, it exists as a plasma that has very different electrical properties. Superconducting magnets are used that require very cold temperatures. So the tokamak actually requires extremely high temperatures in one area with cryogenic temperatures in another. Physicists say a fully functional fusion reactor would provide endless energy without any dangerous nuclear waste. However, the most optimistic estimates suggest it will take 50 years before an artificial sun is economically viable. Other more conventional systems are already harnessing energy from the real sun. In the region of Andalusia in southern Spain, there are very few cloudy days, making it ideal as a location for a solar power station. In 2004, Solarcar began construction of the PS10 plant, able to produce enough electricity for a medium-sized town. The 150-metre power tower is surrounded by a field of 624 heliostats, mirrors that track the sun. The sun's rays hit the mirrors, which reflect radiation towards a receptor located at the top of the tower. This turns water into steam that drives a turbine at the bottom of the tower. A second plant called PS20, located to the west, has just been completed. At full capacity, the two plants will generate 300 megawatts. Large pressure vehicles able to store superheated water can extend the plant's operating time after the sun has set. The final configuration will see heliostats covering an area close to 325,000 hectares. When completed, the entire solar complex will reduce Spain's emissions of carbon dioxide by up to 600,000 metric tonnes each year. Ultimately, the country has plans to send no emissions electricity to the rest of Europe. The European wine industry is under a great deal of pressure. Competition from California, South Africa and Australia has been forcing prices down, and the European Union has a plan to reform the industry. In France, grape growers are being paid to rip up surplus vines, and winemakers have fallen on hard times. But one area associated with the industry is booming as never before. Demand for French-crafted oak wine barrels is growing, particularly from the country's wine rivals in the New World. The standard of the barrel in which wine is aged is one of the most important factors affecting the quality of wine after the grape juice itself. The starting point is the oak itself. Phenols and other natural chemicals found in the grape skins react with the oak of the barrel during the aging process, which will determine the taste of the wine. The art of barrel making, known as coopering, has been practiced in Europe for more than 2,000 years. Seguin Moreau is the world's largest and most demanding user of French Haute-Fouteille oak. Because the type of oak is linked to the nature of the wine, different batches of the wood are carefully recorded so the buyers can be confident that the oak will match the grape. French cooperages are mainly located in the Burgundy and Cognac regions, where both red wine and brandy are aged in oak.
My job in this workshop is to handle the traceability of the staves through the production process to ensure that there aren't any mistakes made. We need to identify the woods for each client, wherever in the production line.
The Seguin and Moreau cooperages were created in 1870 and 1838. The Remy Martin Cognac House bought the two businesses, amalgamating them into one of the biggest cooperage companies in the world. Seguin Moreau has 3 factories in France and 1 in California. Though machines are used for cutting the staves, there is still a lot of handcrafting involved in the barrel making process. Casks were invented by the Celts and adopted by the Romans. They feature in Roman art from the 1st century BC. The most critical phase of the barrel production is the barrel firing. By varying the toasting process, the company can deliver specific toasting profiles: dry walnut, vanilla, toasted or smoke almond, all with a different place in the art of wine making. Each year, the company produces between 90,000 and 95,000 barrels, 3/4 of which are exported. The major markets for wooden casks are the United States, followed by France, Australia and Chile. Seguin Moreau has a long-term relationship with 4,500 clients in 35 countries around the world. Upon completion, each barrel is pressure tested to make certain it is up to specification. The company is now finalising a new analysis of wood molecules that gives a more accurate idea of the flavours that will develop during wine maturation. Though only 5% of the world's wines mature in oak casks, nearly all of refined alcohols, like whiskey and brandy, benefit from the interaction with the oak casks during their maturation. With the application of scientific method to winemaking, the use of barrels declined steeply. But as vintners started to swing back to the art of producing fine wines, the role of oak casks is now appreciated and demand for them is strong. Seguin Moreau makes fine oak casks for a range of different winemaking purposes, and they all have traditional names: pins, firkins, kilderkins, puncheons, rundlets, tierces, pipes, butts and turns are all uniquely proportioned. As red wine ages, harsh tannins gradually give way to a softer taste, and its colour will fade. As a wine starts to mature, its bouquet becomes more complex. Today, there are about 100 cooperage companies in France making 500,000 casks each year.